Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Vaibhav Jyotsna Shravastav, and with me is Manoj Singh Rana, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment, and more. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces free vaccine to all above 18 years of age from 21st June, says supply of vaccine to increase in the coming days. Government of India issues guidelines for vaccination of persons undertaking international travel. India reports lowest number of daily new COVID-19 cases in 2 months. National recovery rate stands at 93.94%. Thailand begins mass vaccination campaign in the country. Almost 40 people killed and dozens more injured in a train collision in southern Pakistan. Colonel Assimi Goita sworn in as the transitional president of Mali. And in French Open tennis, Novak Djokovic and Alexander Zverev enter quarterfinals of the men's singles. In the wake of COVID-19, we appeal to our listeners not to lower their guard and stay safe and protected by following these 4 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene, and get vaccinated. For providing COVID-related information and guidance to the people, national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075 are operational. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday announced that the Union government will provide free vaccines to states for all above 18 years of age starting from the 21st of June. Addressing the nation this evening, Mr. Modi said no state government will have to spend anything on the vaccines and the centre will provide free vaccines to all the countrymen.
आज ये निर्णय लिया गया है कि राज्यों के पास वैक्सीनेशन से जुड़ा जो 25% काम था, उसकी जिम्मेदारी भी भारत सरकार उठाएगी। 21 जून सोमवार से देश के हर राज्य में 18 वर्ष से ऊपर की उम्र के सभी नागरिकों के लिए भारत सरकार राज्यों को मुफ्त वैक्सीन मुहैया कराएगी।
Mr. Modi said though the government will provide free vaccines to all the countrymen, those who want to pay for the same can get vaccinated at private hospitals. He added that private hospitals will be able to charge a maximum service charge of 150 rupees for a single dose after the fixed price of the vaccine. Mr. Modi said the task of monitoring it will remain with the state governments. Mr. Modi said that by working in mission mode, the government raised the vaccination coverage from 60% to 90% in 5 to 6 years. He said the government not only enhanced the speed but also widened the ambit of vaccination. Mr. Modi said this time India warded off all the apprehensions and through clean intentions, clear policy and constant hard work, not just 1 but 2 Made in India vaccines for COVID were launched in the country. The Prime Minister recalled that the vaccine task force was constituted when there were just a few thousand COVID-19 cases and vaccine companies were supported by the government in all possible ways in trials and funding for research and development. The Prime Minister informed that due to great effort and hard work, the supply of vaccines is about to increase in the coming days. He said 7 companies are working on developing vaccines and 3 trials are underway. He said research is also underway on nasal vaccines. He said trials have been started to determine the safety of the vaccines on children. Mr. Modi said in this fight, apart from following COVID-appropriate behavior, COVID vaccine is the only protective care that can save us from the virus. He said Made in India vaccines are saving lives across the world.
कोरोना जैसे अदृश्य और रूप बदलने वाले दुश्मन के खिलाफ लड़ाई में सबसे प्रभावी हथियार कोविड प्रोटोकॉल है। मास्क, 2 गज की दूरी और बाकी सारी सावधानियां उसका पालन ही है। इस लड़ाई में वैक्सीन हमारे लिए सुरक्षा कवच की तरह है।
Recalling the unprecedented rise in the demand for the medical oxygen during the second wave during the months of April and May, Mr. Modi said that the challenge was met at the war footing, deploying all the systems of the government. He said in the history of India, this level of demand for medical oxygen was never experienced.
The Prime Minister informed that Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Ann Yojana has been extended till Diwali. He said in this time of pandemic, the government is standing with the poor. Mr. Modi said free food grains will be available in fixed quantity every month to more than 80 crore countrymen till November. The Prime Minister expressed condolences for the people who lost their lives in the pandemic, terming the pandemic the biggest calamity of the last 100 years, a pandemic not seen nor experienced in the modern world. The Prime Minister said that the country fought the pandemic on many fronts. The Prime Minister said relaxation in Corona curfew should not make people think that COVID-19 has ended, and everyone must continue to follow COVID protocols to win this battle.
अभी कई जगहों पर कोरोना कर्फ्यू में ढील दी जा रही है, लेकिन इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि हमारे बीच से कोरोना चला गया है। हमें सावधान भी रहना है और कोरोना से बचाव के नियमों का भी सख्ती से पालन करते रहना है।
Mr. Modi cautioned against rumours about vaccines and asked youngsters to raise awareness about benefits of vaccination. He says those creating apprehensions about vaccination are playing with the lives of people. India's Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said that India is witnessing a significant decline in active caseloads and fresh cases of coronavirus. He said the recovery rate from the infection is also continuously improving. Addressing the 28th group of ministers meeting on Monday, the union minister said the country's daily recoveries continue to outnumber the daily new cases for the 25th consecutive day. He said the recovery rate has further improved to 93.94%. He added that the country is also witnessing a declining trend in the weekly and daily positivity rate. He said testing capacities have been ramped up in the country for the early detection of coronavirus, and over 36 crore tests have been conducted in the country so far. Dr. Harshvardhan has said over 23 crore doses of COVID vaccine have been administered to the beneficiaries under the nationwide COVID vaccination drive. He said a total of 28 labs across the country are engaged in genome sequencing of coronavirus. The Union Health Minister of India has said that the government is continuously monitoring evolving aspects of mutation in coronavirus. He said the government is ready for early detection of any emerging challenges and better prepared to deal with the evolving situation. On the mucormycosis incidents, Dr. Harshvardhan said higher than usual incident of mucormycosis cases and its effective treatment, especially in patients infected with COVID-19, is being monitored closely.
Meanwhile, the union government has issued standard operating procedure SOPs for vaccination of persons undertaking international travel for educational purposes. It has also issued guidelines for people travelling abroad for employment opportunities or as part of India's contingent for the Tokyo Olympic Games. He said COVID certificates to be linked to passports of such travellers. Our correspondent reports mention a vaccine type as Covishield is sufficient and no other qualifying entries required in vaccination certificates. The Union Ministry has issued SOPs in this regard, which have been conveyed to states and the Union territories. They have also been advised to widely publicize and take all necessary measures to immediately implement the SOPs. The state government shall designate a competent authority in each district for according permission for such administration of the second dose of Covishield. The competent authority shall check whether a period of 28 days has elapsed after the date of the first dose and genuineness of the purpose of travel based on documents related to the travel. This facility shall be available to those who need to undertake international travel for these specified purposes in the period up to the 31st of August 2021. It is clarified that Covishield, produced by the Serum Institute of India and approved by the DCGI, is one of the vaccines by the WHO for use as on the 3rd of June 2021. The CoWIN system will also soon provide the facility for administration of the second dose in such exceptional cases. The lockdown in Delhi continues with more relaxations from Monday. The national capital has been under COVID lockdown since the month of April. As the number of cases started dipping, the Delhi government had begun the unlock process last week. As per the new guidelines, private offices have been allowed to function with 50% of the staff between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Group A staff of government offices is allowed to function with 100% and Group B with 50% staff. Those working in essential services like healthcare, police, prisons, civil defense, fire and emergency services are allowed to work without any restrictions. The Delhi government has said that the restrictions will be further relaxed if the COVID-19 situation continues to remain under control. Our correspondent reports that last week, the Delhi government had opened up the construction and factory sectors. As per the new relaxations, Delhi metro services began operations with 50% seating capacity. All malls, markets and market complexes except weekly markets are allowed to open between 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on an odd-even basis. All standalone shops, neighborhood shops and shops in the residential complexes have been permitted to be open on all days without any distinction of essential and non-essential goods and services. Delivery of all types of goods through e-commerce is allowed on production of a valid identity card issued by the employer and the company.
Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri has said that more than 90 lakh people have been facilitated under the Vande Bharat mission so far. The Vande Bharat mission was started in early May last year to evacuate Indians stranded abroad due to coronavirus-induced travel restrictions. In a tweet, Mr. Puri said that the Vande Bharat mission has been a learning experience. He said world's largest repatriation mission, the Vande Bharat mission, has been a learning experience and has given us a template for managing missions of this magnitude in the future. The minister also informed that 3,479 people returned to India under the Vande Bharat mission on Sunday. This includes 65 from Saudi Arabia, 320 from the UAE, 47 from Qatar, 93 from Malaysia and several other countries. Now let's take a look at the coronavirus updates from around the world. Thailand has started its nationwide vaccination campaign against COVID-19 on Monday. According to reports, the authorities aim to administer 6 million doses of locally made AstraZeneca and imported Sinovac shots this month. Thailand plans to inoculate 70% of its population, that includes more than 66 million people, by the end of the year. The country is facing a deadly third wave of the coronavirus. Spain opened its borders to all vaccinated travellers from around the world on Monday. Spain's Health Minister Carolina Darias said that Spain is a safe destination and the country was in the process of reclaiming its global leadership in tourism. 100 former presidents, prime ministers and foreign ministers have urged the Group of Seven, or G7, to pay for global coronavirus vaccinations to help stop the virus mutating and returning as a worldwide threat. The leaders made their appeal ahead of G7 summit in England, which begins on Friday. US President Joe Biden will meet the leaders of Britain, France, Germany, Italy, Canada and Japan in the meeting. Among the signatories were ex-British Premiers Gordon Brown and Tony Blair, former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon and 15 former African leaders. The United Nations has appealed to people to be vigilant and verify information before sharing to stop the spread of misinformation. The UN, in a tweet, said that amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, misinformation is causing global harm and can be deadly. It called for people to take time to verify facts before sharing something online to stop the spread of misinformation and the virus. It made the appeal through the hashtag #TakeCareBeforeYouShare campaign. This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
3 steps to stay protected and stay safe from COVID-19. Wear face mask, 2 gaz ki duri to maintain social distancing, maintain hand and face hygiene.
Welcome back. You were listening to the World News. A prominent Chinese expert has said that Indian students may be allowed to return to China. In an exclusive talk with Prasar Bharati Beijing, Dr. Henry Wang, president of a prominent Chinese think tank, Center for China and Globalization, said that Indian students' return is something which China can do. In a rare acceptance, Dr. Henry Wang, who is also a counselor at the State Council of China said that by not allowing international students to return, China's international image is suffering and ensuing negative public opinion is very bad for China. Dr. Wang said that China should allow them, especially as the Beijing Olympics is coming up, pointing out towards the negative spillover effects due to the delay. China has been facing boycott calls for Beijing Winter Olympics, which are scheduled in February next year, riding on the West's criticism of China's human rights record on various accounts. China has been repeatedly rejecting this charge. As per media reports, a group of politicians from 11 countries from Europe and North America have called for a diplomatic boycott of the Games. Dr. Wang expressed concerns on the delay in the return of Indian students to China and agreed that their demands, issues and sufferings are genuine. Around 20,000 Indian students studying in China have been waiting for Chinese government's approval for their return to China for around 17 months now to resume their studies. Students told Prasar Bharati Beijing that from March 2020 till July 2020, both overseas and Chinese students were studying online, but from August 2020 onwards, Chinese students returned to the campus, while Chinese government did not allow the international students despite repeated requests. Highlighting the potential and importance of collaboration between India and China, Dr. Wang said India and China should have more student exchanges, people-to-people exchanges and tourism. China should have more tourists going to India. Meanwhile, the High Commission of India in Dhaka has taken up the case for the entry of the Indian medical students who are scheduled to appear for their MBBS final professional examination in Bangladesh in June. The High Commission has written to the medical colleges in Bangladesh to forward a list of such students to facilitate their entry into the country. Earlier, many of the MBBS students had written to the High Commission seeking help to return to Bangladesh to appear for their final exams. The exams were scheduled to be held in November 2020, but they have been rescheduled now for June 2021. The travel between Bangladesh and India is currently disrupted as both air travel and land border crossing have been suspended due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Two passenger trains collided in southern Pakistan on Monday, killing at least 40 people and injuring dozens more. Officials said one train travelling in Sindh province had derailed and landed on another track. A second train packed with passengers then collided with it and overturned. Rescue teams took the injured to nearby hospitals, and it is thought that several are in critical condition. Pakistan has seen a string of deadly train accidents over the past years. Between 2013 and 2019, 150 people died in such incidents, according to local media reports. Prime Minister Imran Khan said he was shocked by the accident and promised a full inquiry. Hospitals in the area have been put on emergency alert to deal with the casualties. The accident happened early on Monday when the Millat Express coming from Karachi derailed, falling onto another track. The Sir Syed Express coming from Rawalpindi collided with it and overturned. Local media have cited officials as saying that a relief train has been dispatched to the crash site, while helpline centres have been set up for passengers. Heavy rain slashed Sri Lanka, triggering floods and landslides that have killed at least 17 people and forced tens of thousands from their homes. According to officials, after days of rain, rivers on the island nation's southern and western plains overflowed on the weekend, inundating low-lying areas and forcing thousands into relief centres. The natural disaster comes as Sri Lanka is hoping to ease restrictions to tackle the novel coronavirus. A month-long lockdown to fight a third wave of infections is due to end on June the 14th. In Mali, Colonel Assimi Goita was sworn into office as the country's transitional president on Monday. The development occurs amidst international condemnation of the second coup Colonel Goita he has led in 9 months. Goita, who ousted Mali's interim president and prime minister in May, assumed office in a ceremony at the International Conference Centre in Bamako. At the domestic stock markets, the Sensex and the Nifty rise to post fresh record highs today, while the rupee appreciated slightly against the US dollar. In the international markets, Brent crude oil futures traded below $72 a barrel. A report from the business world.
At the stock markets, the Sensex at the Bombay Stock Exchange rose 228 points or 0.4% to close at a record high of 52,329 today. Nifty at the National Stock Exchange advanced 81 points or 0.5% to end at an all-time high of 15,752. Among global markets, key indices in Asia Pacific ended mostly higher. So Japan's Nikkei 225 index inched up 0.3%. China's Shanghai Composite Index gained 0.2%. South Korea's Kospi Index rose 0.4% and Singapore's Straits Times Index advanced 0.8%. But Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index fell 0.5%. In Europe, London's FTSE 100 had gained 0.2% and Germany's DAX had traded marginally higher, but France's CAC 40 had traded marginally lower in intraday trade. Brent crude oil eased today, pressured by the prospect of higher Iranian exports, though recovering demand and OPEC Plus supply curbs provided underlying support. So Brent crude fell 62 cents to $71.27 a barrel. Brent crude fell 62 cents to $71.27 a barrel. U.S. crude futures touched $70 for the first time since October 2018, but reversed course to trade 55 cents lower at $69.07 a barrel. Back home, gold fell 152 rupees to 48,107 rupees per 10 grams at the Delhi's bullion market today on weak global cues. Silver dropped 540 rupees to 69,925 rupees per kilo. At the forex market, the rupee appreciated 20 paise to 72 rupees and 80 paise against the US dollar. This is Lalema Aneja Dang for World News All India Radio.
In the French Open tennis tournament, top seed Novak Djokovic and German sixth seed Alexander Zverev have advanced to the quarterfinals of the men's singles today. Djokovic advanced to the last 16 after Italian Lorenzo Musetti retired due to injury. The world number one was leading the decider 4-0 after fighting back to 6-7, 6-7, 6-1, 6-0. Zverev, on the other hand, defeated Kei Nishikori of Japan in the fourth round. He will face Alejandro Davidovich Fokina for a place in the semi-final. The match between defending champion Rafael Nadal and Italian teenager, the 18-seeded Jannik Sinner, for a place in the quarterfinals is underway. Rafael Nadal won the first set 7-5 after lagging for a brief portion. Earlier, Russian second seed Daniil Medvedev stormed into the male singles quarterfinals. Medvedev will clash with Greek fifth seed Stefanos Tsitsipas. Italian Matteo Berrettini got a walkover into the quarterfinals after 20-time Grand Slam winner Roger Federer pulled out of the tournament as a precautionary measure to rest despite reaching the fourth round. In women's fixtures, Barbora Krejcikova of Czech Republic and 17-year-old Coco Gauff reached the quarterfinals. Earlier, Serena Williams' latest quest for a record equaling 24th Grand Slam title ended with a defeat by 21st seed Elena Rybakina of Kazakhstan in the fourth round. However, Indian player Rohan Bopanna and his Croatian partner Franco Shugor lost to Spanish pair of Pablo Andujar and Pedro Martinez in the quarterfinals today. And now let us take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. Washington Post reports Fujimori opens narrow lead as ballots counted in Peru's presidential election. Khalij Times reports that Israeli parliament to vote on approving new government by June the 14th. New York Times reports that the city plans to mark its reopening with a mega concert in the famed Central Park. The Globe and Mail reports that Naomi Osaka withdraws from pre-Wimbledon tournament in Berlin. Sydney Morning Herald reports that mortality rate of rare blood clot condition linked to AstraZeneca shot plunges. And Wall Street Journal writes that Jeff Bezos plans to travel to space next month on the first human flight by Blue Origin, the space travel company.
On the 7th of June 2021, the WHO and the FAO came together to celebrate the World Food Safety Day. The day aims to draw attention and inspire action to help prevent, detect and manage foodborne risks, contributing to food security, human health, economic prosperity, agriculture, market access, tourism and sustainable development. Director General Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus gave a message to mark the occasion.
In these trying times, we have a collective responsibility to ensure safe, healthy and nutritious food. WHO and FAO are supporting governments in their efforts to ensure safe and nutritious food for all. At the same time, agriculture and food producers need to adopt good practices, and businesses must make sure food is safe. When food safety is improved, we reduce hunger, malnutrition, and infant mortality. Children miss fewer days at school. Adults increase their productivity, and the strain on health systems is reduced. The responsibility to ensure safe, healthy, and nutritious food is a collective one. Governments, producers, transportation, shops, restaurants, and food preparers, we all have a role to play. Food safety is everyone's business every day. In time of crisis, it's more important than ever.
In Ladakh, All India Radio is a way of life. AIR Leh is not just a medium of information, entertainment and education, but also helps in providing many youngsters an opportunity to earn their pocket money. AIR Leh is the only medium serving in Ladakhi language, with maximum reach across the length and breadth of Leh. Many individuals are associated with AIR Leh to showcase their talent to the world. On the occasion of the Golden Jubilee year of All India Radio Leh, our correspondent has filed this story.
Till recently, Leh Ladakh had very limited opportunities with minimal media for entertainment in Ladakhi language, as this part of the country remains cut off for nearly half of the year due to harsh winter and closed roads. All the avenues and job opportunities too remain closed. In such condition, AIR is the only medium that gives talented people an opportunity to express themselves, to entertain or to share their excellence in a particular field. Lobsang Dolma is one such talented singer who entertained the scores of audience and earned herds and livelihood as well.
जब मैं पढ़ाई कर रही थी तब ग्रेजुएशन तक मैंने रेडियो में कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स मुझे बहुत सारे मिले और उन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स के थ्रू मुझे फाइनेंशियली बहुत ज़्यादा हेल्प मिला अपनी स्टडीज़ को कंप्लीट करने की। तो जब मैं छोटी थी तब चिल्ड्रन प्रोग्राम्स में बहुत ज़्यादा गाना गाया है। उसके बाद थनम मेलोंग डिग्रीम, जुनूगु ने डिग्रीम और दत्तानांगजी ने डिग्रीम, ये सारे प्रोग्राम्स में मैंने अपने साथियों के साथ बहुत सारे गाने गाए हैं। इस मीडिया के माध्यम से मैं ऑल इंडिया रेडियो ले को थैंक यू बोलना चाहूँगी।
With Ramesh Chandra, this is Phuntsog Wangmo reporting from Leh Ladakh.
The Films Division is remembering the acclaimed filmmaker, producer, screenwriter, novelist, playwright, short story writer and journalist Khwaja Ahmed Abbas, popularly known as K.A. Abbas, on his 107th birth anniversary by screening a biopic on Tuesday. The film I Have Something to Say, K.A. Abbas will be streamed on the Films Division website. Known for directing award-winning social realist films like Dharti Ke Lal, Saath Hindustani, Pardesi, Sheher Aur Sapna and Do Boond Pani, and also for screenwriting Jagte Raho, Avara, Neecha Nagar, Shri 420, Mera Naam Joker and many other popular films, his films were deeply rooted in interest of common man and their concerns. A new study will help accurately do an estimation of black carbon over the Himalayas. Scientists at the Aryabhat Research Institute of Observational Sciences, in collaboration with scientists from the University of Delhi, IIT Kanpur and Space Physics Laboratory ISRO, have made extensive observations of black carbon and elemental carbon and estimated monthly and wavelength-dependent values of mass absorption cross-section over the central Himalayan region for the first time.
Now a quick look at the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi announces free vaccine to all above 18 years from 21st June, says supply of vaccine to increase in the coming days. Government of India issues guidelines for vaccination of persons undertaking international travel. India reports lowest number of daily new COVID-19 cases in 2 months. National recovery rate stands at 93.94%. Thailand begins mass vaccination campaign in the country. Almost 40 people killed and dozens more injured in train collision in southern Pakistan. Colonel Assimi Goïta sworn in as the transitional president of Mali. And in French Open tennis, Novak Djokovic and Alexander Zverev enter quarterfinals of the men's singles. India is celebrating the 151st birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. Before we end, let us listen to his favorite bhajan, Vaishnavajan, by artists from Sweden on their national day. With that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.